This is not real. But a good writer could explain this fiction in such a way to make future generations believe it to be real, even to the point of worshipping it, making a god out of the ridiculous. It happens all the time. The power of a clever writer and excellent writing. This, on the other hand, is real. It is far more difficult to make this into something that it is not, because of common knowledge of the facts, and because we all share the truth. A bird is a bird. The Internet is not always truth, nor does it always convey facts, but it is always there for us to decide for ourselves. It does not restrict schools of thoughts and allow only for a specific parochial thinking. Controlling such exposure as the Internet would be perfect for unscrupulous politicians. That is why religions burn books and people and restrict the viewing of movies and ban literature. Control. And they always exercise this control using the excuse of morality and patriotism. In other words, for our own good. Liberty, in my humble opinion, one should never discuss liberty without immediately discussing responsibilities. It is one thing to live one's life without external controls and restrictions. It is quite another not to impose or restrict another's freedom to do the same. We are free to drive on beautiful roads, but we must also accept the responsibility of being taxed to do so safely and effectively. It is our taxation, for example, that causes that fireman to come to our house if our house is burning. To me, personal liberties in our society should never be exercised at the expense of others and their personal liberties. The only way to accomplish that is to be exposed to the world via the Internet. Undiluted truth. In other words, we should be free to fly a kite, free to pursue our entrepreneurial spirit, or to practice anachronism, to do whatever we wish, so long as we do not trample on the rights of others and their freedoms. You see, things aren't always what they seem. Without knowledge and experience, it is difficult to know and to separate the facts from the illusions. We should know, for example, that our legal system does not mean that we have a just system. That is, legal does not always mean justice served. We should know, for example, that going to school is not the same thing as being educated. We should know, for example, that hate, no matter how well disguised, is still hate. It is important that we know that displaying a flag is not the same as showing one's heart and intention. Replacing one's flag with another is not necessarily patriotism. We should also know that being a good citizen should not be defined in terms of the degree of restrictions we impose on other citizens. A neighborhood is not always a community of sameness, but a community of diversity that act and perform for the common good. Hate should never be part of that equation. The Internet helps me in my quest for education.
iPhone 3G. The original bag has been taken out, been painted over pink. She wanted a pink iPhone. The actual chrome trim has been painted green. And basically the phone is normal. The rest of the phone is normal. And this is what I do. My name's Caesar. My phone number is 757-816-1114. I go by iPhone Repair King on Craigslist. Call me anytime. You can also email me at iPhoneRepairKing@gmail.com. Thank you.
Because my definition of education is to impart knowledge, to make clear that which may seem ambiguous, to be exposed to information and to have a sense to decipher reality from fiction. In short, education should be a preparation for a happy and successful life.
What we are is a society for creative anachronism, and we're a group that recreates the Middle Ages, and we do it through studying, dig sites, and so on and so forth. We teach. It's a non-profit organization that teaches children
Education, in my opinion, should be an effective way to prepare one for life itself. It should not be a consensus effort to obscure or to hide facts and truth. When it comes to politicians, we should never ignore the obvious. Follow the money. In our world, politicians' loyalty is not necessarily to his or her constituents, but to the source of the money he or she received. A politician's job, therefore, it seems to me, is to convince you that what he's doing for his benefactor is for your good. Very clever, isn't it? The key, I think, is education, and with the internet, everyone has access to everything. The less educated you are, the easier it is to convince you that fictionalized personification of whatever it is real, to be admired and to be worshipped. The only leveling entity we have is the internet. Now you can understand why so many politicians would love to take that source of facts and truths away from you and for your perusal. Let me repeat that, because ignorance is the greatest tool for controlling a weak mind. To me, the only leveling entity we have that is inexpensive and cheap is the internet. Now you can understand why so many politicians would love to take that source of facts and truths away from you for your perusal. They tug at your heart with the flag and pseudo-morality to convince you that a lack of education is good for you. I say we should save the internet. Keep the internet open and free.